I think this is a great opportunity for all of us who are in different realities to help you to understand that through Tricia and through Elena, we are going to give you messages and opportunities for you to understand truths about life that they were never told, because people die without having the opportunity of sharing their experiences. So through these recordings and channeling from Tricia and Elena, you are going to be able to understand. It's going to, okay, this is what I'm channeling. You are going to be able to hear the story, the unspoken story of some people who went through different lifetimes, especially Atlantis, fighting for the truth, for the values of humanity, and did not have the chance to communicate that. So the past is speaking to us, and we get to listen to that. And in the beginning, there may be some interruptions in the audio because this is a new message that's coming from higher consciousness, and sometimes the third dimensional energy will create some interference because just they're in different vibrations and different frequencies. So be there with me and focus into the message, more into the human mistakes that can be coming. So I want to welcome Tricia.
Good morning.
Good morning. And so I want to say thank you so much for doing this with me, because in this moment in history, we were thinking into how can we contribute contribution to the world in the sense that we can help the world to awakening. And I think it was very clear to both of us that it was by sharing what we're seeing and giving that information to others that will be a great support system to the different realities or the different people that can be awakening and wanting to have more information from the past and how that moves into the future. Now, with that said, like being sharing with me that there is something that's very important, and that is that there's a specific place energetically where we're going to be collecting these stories. And just a second. So my understanding is that we're going to go to this special place, of energetic special place. We're going to be releasing the information from. We're going to be reading this. It's like a yellow energy, and these are books, energetic books, where we're going to be releasing the story. So for that, it's very important that we understand unconditional love, and we create unconditional love. And we're not going to be saying this in every recording, but it's important for you to know that in order for us to do this work, we have learned to create unconditional love for ourselves, so we can be able to connect to the message that we're going to bring. All right? So this is the first recording that we're going to get. And so I'm going to go through energy, and I'm going to go to this place, energetic space, and there's this specific record that is given to me. And so I'm just going to bring it into a place where we can read it. Okay, great. All right, Tricia, are we ready? Okay, so for me, these records represent the union of a community of love and compassion in the time of Atlantis. Tricia, what does that represent to you?
I think communities comes, for me, it represents a lot more community, and therefore there is love. Feels like the presence of communion, being with people, supporting people, is so strong beyond what's going on outside, just in that tight-knit group of who is in that community.
Okay, so community is important. And this is the second thing that he's saying, just to complement to what you're saying. The union, the sacred space of community is very, very special. But underneath that is the story of each one of those people that created that community that were bringing their experiences, their feelings, their questioning, their doubts, their sadness for losing the golden community they have. And so he says that is the story of each individual that will make the community, because that's the intention, to speak the truth about their community and what are the events that happen there and why we are where we are nowadays and how we can move forward in the changes that are coming in the future. Because when it comes to climate change and the movement of the planet, they were going through something similar. So they want us to be aware of that some of the choices that they created to get us at the unity was good, but when it was filtered with the egocentric energy of another beings that were connected with this in this community, were not really for the highest self. So instead of taking their community through a climate and change, they, in a positive way, they really damage more the community of love and compassion and understanding. So what else are you getting, Tricia?
I'm noticing the sadness that you described as the fact that there was a misconnect with this community to realize each person brought gifts and benefits to the group, but as the whole, they developed a tapestry of community that wasn't as appreciated and respected, which therefore made them weak a little bit and vulnerable. And I feel that's where the community part of their environment, of their time, of their situation had weaknesses in it, which they are trying to convey to us. It's one thing to bring your gifts out and share them and participate with a community. It's another thing to take the next step to realize what the whole is creating.
Thank you. So what he's saying to me is there is very important the focus of their understanding of water. To them, water was so essential, and that's what he's saying. And he says, I need to drink some water. So go ahead, Tricia, they're giving you the information, the next step of the information while I'm get some water. Go ahead, hon.
It's interesting that you mentioned the word water. I was not understanding what it was that was not connecting them. And water is such an important part of bringing that into your body so you're able to experience higher levels of connection. And as Elena was just taking her time to drink her water, I drank mine, and I could feel that connection come into place where we can experience how much of the web, the matrix, the connection community can make just by observation, just by awareness, just by presence of knowing it's there. It doesn't need to be talked about, written about, verbally explained. It's just something that's there, and that unawareness that they had that during that time was what the water was bringing together, because we're all so connected by water, because it is such a big part of our bodies.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So he just wants me to talk about the topic, the message, which is the meteorite that was coming at the time. There were two groups of people: the people that were intuitive and the scientists, what they consider scientific people. The people that were intuitive focus into the energy of the heart, and they can feel the outcomes of the future through, because in order to be intuitive, they understood that it was very important to feel, to connect to every living creation, plants, animals. And because a group of people, the golden community, focus into awakening those feelings into the movement of the planets and connected to that, they knew there was a meteorite that was coming. And it was eventually common knowledge for everyone that the meteorite was coming. And the people that focus into the scientific process didn't take in account the feelings of the people that have intuition. And so they got themselves in a situation. They could have reversed the way of the meteorite so it wouldn't hit the planet, but they didn't. They didn't. And so the meteorite hit the planet and it really created a lot of movements and destruction in the planet. So the scientific people, that was the source of the conflict between these two communities. The scientific people that believe in themselves and their technology instead of believing in the collective consciousness, and the people that chose to be in their heart and they stood their ground. So that was the collective conflicts. Go ahead, Tricia. There's information that's coming through you.
Yes, and what I'm realizing is there's expressions of gifts on both communities. There's the fact that the scientists were bringing to the table all this technology, but not in their hearts, they were in their heads, where the community itself was going into fear and not staying in their hearts, and this breakdown made the whole area vulnerable. And no matter what gifts that were available and that people were willing to share, there was a misconnect in these groups for the bigger purpose.
Wonderful. And that's how and this is the first time I'm hearing this, that's how the contamination to the water came into their society. So what does it mean, contamination of water, Tricia? I'm dropping my energy, so go ahead. I need to drink some water. Go ahead, hon.
It means the fact that the infrastructure, the unspoken energetic infrastructure was falling apart. It wasn't being fueled by the collective. It was going into a more submissive, independent, vulnerable state. We as a group, as a community, as the world are stronger as a whole. We all have our gifts to bring, and going away from our hearts, no matter how scientific you are or how independent you can be, staying together as the collective, the unspoken, energetic collective, is such a stronger space. And the water, our bodies are so full of water, so much made of water, that is a common denominator that cannot be changed.
That's right. So there's a little more. Go ahead, Tricia. I'm holding the space. Keep going.
So without the water, this connection, it's too hard to take all our individual bodies and bring them to a whole. So you just get pieces, parts of them. So we lose the connection of the unconscious through the protons, neutrons, electrons, the system, the body. Even though we're individuals, that is how it connects, is through the collective consciousness of the water. Knowing that it is, and knowing how big it is, we can connect that way.
Mm-hmm. And so the message that he's saying, because I was looking into the water as well, it says that by damaging the water, we disconnected. Yes, we had our individuality, but in that individuality, we, like a puzzle, we connected to each other, but we lost that when we contaminated the water by separating ourselves. So this is more like the love is coming through one of these beings from the golden community, which is the intuition community, where he's saying, even if you're in because he considers our society a society of scientists, scientific society, it's like everything to this point is being controlled like that, even though the large majority is controlled by that, which is 90%. He's saying this message is coming at this specific moment, because even though we have the technology, we have to take into account their heart, because it's not the technology that's allowing him to communicate with us, but it's the heart, the intuition that can travel through dimensions. They can keep prepare us, all of us, to the changes, climate changes, and the day changes, genetic changes that we're going through right now in this time of history. So he's showing me right now how a vision, and how at the end of the destruction of Atlantis, which was the technology itself that destroyed Atlantis because the heart was not there, he's showing me about these scientists. There were 4 of them, the main scientists that were able to survive and they travel on a boat to what we call Belize right now. And he's showing me that because he's saying, what was the point of being scientific? Having the scientific mind, through the process they destroy the civilization because they were not connecting with the heart. So this is the message for me as a human, and for the ones who want to listen to this message. And I know Tricia will have her chance also to explain why these messages are coming in this time. That it doesn't matter how much technology we have in these days, be aware that that technology is not going to destroy us because we're not following our hearts. So go ahead, Tricia.
Yes, that's what I'm sensing that's so strong for me, is the fact that what I'm sensing through the message is our gifts are our gifts, and they're for us to share. However, if we don't share them from our hearts, and not the heart as far as a chakra or anything like that, it's just from the compassion, from the love, and that frequency that can deliver that connection, nothing is the same. It's just not raised to the highest level that could be delivered, because if we don't have that connection from our hearts, and which connects us all with the community we live in, the community of the whole, the community of the world, the power isn't the same. So it's like turning on a light and having the light turn on because we have technology to do that, but then turning the bulb up so it goes higher, higher, higher is coming from our hearts, and developing an ability to raise it up to a level that we can't speak of, because it's coming from a true place that's inside of all of us. And by missing that piece, we miss the whole picture that it's capable. So once that capable picture comes together, we have no idea what it could potentially look like.
Thank you, Tricia.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying that's the message for this week, or until we are told again that we bring the next message. But I want to say that there is so much love from them, and also this urgency, this need of these ancestors of humanity to share these experiences so it can help you to go through this process of changes. So thank you for being with us today, and we're sending lots and lots of love to each one of you.